wheels keep on turning, proud Matty keep on burning.
When a Filipino singer in a borrowed suit stepped onto Britain's Got Talent, he wasn't just auditioning, he was executing a plan 10 years in the making. That golden buzzer moment everyone saw, it's only a fraction of the real story. The golden buzzer that changed everything. March 28, 2026, a 27-year-old walked onto the BGT stage, and within minutes, everything shifted. The judges expected another hopeful with a standard sob story. Instead, they got someone who'd already failed on television, abandoned a music career back home, and spent 2 years waiting tables in Glasgow while chasing an impossible dream. Matty told the judges plainly he'd spent years feeling like a perpetual loser in every competition he entered. They'd heard this before 1,000 times. Then Purple Rain started and the room transformed. By the second verse, audience members were standing without realizing it. Before the final note even finished, Simon Cowell slammed the golden buzzer. Gold confetti fell as Matty stood frozen, hands on his head, struggling to breathe. What nobody watching knew, he'd been preparing that exact song for nearly a decade. The boy who never stayed still. Long before London, Matty was constantly moving. Born in Quezon City, his childhood was a blur of relocations: Mandaluyong, Zamboanga, Tawi-Tawi, Cavite, Taguig. That last detail matters more than most realize. Tawi-Tawi sits at the Philippines' southern edge, far from Manila's spotlight, in a region most performers never visit. For a Catholic kid who would eventually study musical theater in Scotland, this shaped a sense of home stretched across multiple worlds. Through every move, his voice traveled with him. Singing since age 5, music evolved from hobby to identity. At St. Paul College, he joined the choir and entered competitions citywide. Classmates remember him performing impromptu shows between classes, constantly keeping his instrument sharp. After high school, he joined De La Salle University's premier vocal group, experiencing what it meant to perform on serious stages. Graduating in 2018, he faced the classic crossroads: safe path or uncertain dream. He chose the dream, fully and relentlessly. Within a year, that choice led him to Idol Philippines Season 1. Standing before judges including legends like Regine Velasquez, this wasn't just performing, it was validation. A 5-year-old's dream was finally, terrifyingly real. He had no idea that same dream was about to publicly crush him. The first elimination. Idol Philippines 2019 featured major names judging thousands of hopefuls. Only 69 received golden tickets. Matty was one of them. At 20, fresh from university, he reached the top 12 live shows. For the first round, each finalist performed a Ryan Cayabyab composition, personally mentored by the legendary composer. The scoring split evenly between judges and public voting. Popularity mattered as much as talent. Matty had no fan army, no viral moment, no built-in support. First elimination results, Matty scored 50.5%, lowest of the entire top 12. He was sent home immediately. In post-elimination interviews, he admitted his personality hadn't translated well on television, but claimed no regrets. What he didn't say, but showed clearly in every clip, he believed his music career had just ended. He was wrong. The strangest chapter was about to begin. The unexpected comeback. Within weeks, the same network brought him back, pairing him with 2 other finalists, runner-up Lucas Garcia and top 20 contestant Enzo. For someone just voted off nationally, this second chance was extraordinary. They appeared on Filipino variety shows, built a fan base, and created what resembled a real career. In 2020, all three released solo singles simultaneously. Matty's Sayo na Talaga told the story of quiet, long-held love, his first release under his own name. After being labeled the worst of the top 12, having something entirely his felt life-changing.
In 2021, the group released Kapangarian, which became their signature song. Here's the detail almost nobody knows. That track was chosen as the final lip-sync song for Drag Race Philippines Season 2's finale, a massive queer pop culture landmark across Southeast Asia. The same voice that scored lowest in the top 12 now soundtracked a continent-defining cultural moment. Then, at their peak, Matty told his bandmates he was leaving, starting over in Scotland. In 2022, Idols disbanded. The reason? Matty received a partial scholarship to Scotland's Royal Conservatoire to study musical theatre. To fans, this seemed reckless, abandoning a working music career, major label deal, and national recognition. To Matty, it was the only choice that made sense. He said the only way to silence the voice calling him a loser was starting completely fresh, where nobody knew his name, in a program forcing him to become more than just a singer. He arrived in Glasgow half-funded, with unpayable expenses. To survive, he waited tables while juggling acting, dance, vocal coaching, and rehearsals. He's described that first year as simultaneously the hardest and most fulfilling he'd lived. Everything was new: the cold, accents, food, loneliness of being the only Filipino in most classes, all while knowing failure meant having nothing to return to. He kept going. By graduation in 2024, he'd performed at Edinburgh Festival Fringe, taken roles in Kinky Boots and The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and built a portfolio most graduates spend years assembling. Then, diploma in hand and student visa expiring, he went back to waiting tables, because that's what most musical theater graduates actually do. The strategic audition. Somewhere between graduation and his BGT audition tape, Matty stopped thinking like a contestant and started thinking like a strategist. He's admitted he studied Simon Cowell, watching hours of footage, analyzing which vocal performances actually moved him, noting which songs Simon publicly named as favorites. Then he made a deliberate choice: Purple Rain by Prince, specifically because it was one of Simon's all-time favorite songs. This wasn't random. This was someone eliminated first nationally, who spent 4 years rebuilding in a rain-soaked city, who carried plates for 2 years after graduating from a top conservatory, who decided if he got one more televised chance, he'd weaponize everything he'd learned about the man holding the buzzer. When the audition aired March 28, 2026, Matty executed his plan perfectly. He held back through the first half, keeping his voice quiet and almost broken like Prince's original. Then, in the final stretch, he opened up. The audience rose mid-performance. All 4 judges stood, and Simon, unaware the song was performed specifically for him, hit the golden buzzer, sending the season's first act straight to live semifinals. The voice that traveled home. Within hours, the clip traveled in unexpected directions. Filipino news sites picked it up immediately. Fans who'd voted him off Idol Philippines 6 years earlier reposted with apologies. Old Idols fans shared side-by-sides of 2021 performances next to the golden buzzer moment. Drag Race Philippines audiences realized the British stage singer was the same voice from their favorite finale. Across nursing wards, construction sites, and call centers everywhere Filipinos work, the audition spread through WhatsApp groups faster than most British viewers will understand. Semifinals begin late April 2026.
Matty's planning something completely different, stepping away from the soft, emotional tone towards something stronger, wider, designed to prove the golden buzzer wasn't luck. The pressure is enormous. First golden buzzers always carry highest expectations, and British audiences quickly turn on performers who peak early. But here's the truth. None of this is new to him. He's already lived through career-ending setbacks. First eliminated nationally, a record deal that vanished, walking away from a country, label, and trio that once felt like everything. Starting over doesn't scare him anymore. It's his pattern. The boy from Quezon City just keeps moving. At his lowest, he carried 240 pounds physically and emotionally. He ranked last among top 12. After graduating from one of the world's best conservatories, he spent 2 years carrying plates. But he never stopped rebuilding his body, voice, confidence, identity, again and again. Now, for the first time, he's standing still, long enough for the world to finally catch up. So there's only one question left. How far is he willing to go?